And for you joining us today, just be aware that this is being recorded today. So we will get that link out to you after the session is over, and that should be about a week or so, approximately, just letting you know. Wait just a few more seconds here, please. All righty. Thank you for joining us today. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's information session with T-Mobile. My name is Werner Petzold. I'm Employer Outreach Specialist at the University of Arizona Global Campus and 10-year U.S. Air Force veteran. We're excited you could join us today to learn about the exciting career opportunities with T-Mobile. Before I turn the floor over, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded. For all those who registered for today's information session, the recording will be emailed to you in a few days. We will take time to answer as many questions as possible during and at the end of the presentation. At the bottom of the screen is a Q&A button. You can submit questions with your name or anonymously to be answered live. We will do our best to get as many questions as we can answered, of course. However, if your question is not answered by the end of the presentation, you can email it to career services, that's all one word, at uagc.edu. We will follow up with T-Mobile to get any remaining questions answered. Also, feel free to engage in the chat. You can pose questions in the chat, and members of the Career Services team will be available to help answer questions throughout the presentation. If you have any technical difficulties, we recommend logging out of Zoom and logging back in. Now, I would like to introduce our guest employer. Joining us today is Lacey Craig, Senior Program Manager, Military and Diversity Recruiting at T-Mobile, and UAGC alum. Yay! We just saw Lacey graduate in May with everyone else, so it's great to have you here, Lacey. So Lacey plays a pivotal role in driving employment for veterans, military spouses, and active duty service members across the organization. In her role, Lacey is also responsible for managing the partnership with Hiring Our Heroes, Blue Star Families, as well as the development of programs that support our military community and within and outside of T-Mobile. Beyond her responsibilities within T-Mobile, Lacey is passionate advocate, as for the military community as the daughter of a 38-year serving veteran. Lacey is also the co-lead of T-Mobile's Southern California DEI Council and sits on the board of advisors for Veterans Legal Institute. Lacey, we are excited to hear your presentation and thank you for joining us today. I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining to learn a little bit more about T-Mobile and different opportunities, who we are as an employer. I always get very excited when I come and do any event with UAGC, as I just graduated with my master's degree in May, which was very exciting for me. It's always nice to come back and engage with alumni and current students about different opportunities here. But then also what to consider in an employer as you're kind of looking for that next step in your career. So I'll go ahead and jump right in. So a little bit about T-Mobile. We're not just a cell phone company. We definitely have a mission to be the best in the world at connecting customers to their world. A couple of really great examples that I like to share with this is we actually have a team of emergency responder network engineers that when there are things like hurricanes that just hit on the East Coast, we're very proud to say that we restored all but 2% of our customers' service within the first week after those hurricanes hit. So we really do strive to be the best at connecting customers, even in the most obscure of situations. And emergencies. We also like to make sure that we are enhancing our technology to have customers stay connected. I like to go camping sometimes in areas where I don't have service. If you guys, if any of you are T-Mobile customers, you may notice that on some of the newer phones, you have satellite capabilities to connect to satellite to be able to make those phone calls or send texts, so that you can connect still with your family and friends and let them know where you are, that you're okay. And that's really because of the enhanced technology that we focus on as a company. So we take this mission very seriously. It's not just about, do you have 5G bars every day under normal circumstances? Can you connect to Wi-Fi? But it's really about what we're hearing from our customers, how we can engage with the best cutting edge technology to keep our customers connected to their world under the best and most extreme of situations. Our vision is also to be the number one in customers' choice and in customers' hearts. So we really do pride ourselves on our customer service. All of our customer service representatives are based here in the United States. We have 24 different call centers throughout the country that focus on both our consumer accounts as well as our small business accounts, big business accounts, our government accounts. When you go on tmobile.com and you're interacting with our virtual center or virtual robot, that's actually a real person at one of our call centers. That's our virtual retail team. So we really do try to be the best at customer connection and customer service, incorporate customer feedback, and not just, be focused on what we can sell or how much money we can make, but really about being a for-profit company that is the number one in customers' hearts as well. These are just 10 reasons to love the opportunity at T-Mobile. I will talk about a couple that are my favorite. So, of course, one of my favorites is our benefits and growth opportunities. So, I know I mentioned that I just received my master's degree from UAGC this past May. T-Mobile paid for that for me 100%. So I think literally my only out-of-pocket costs were maybe some books and digital access, and then as well as my graduation application. But outside of that, they paid for 100% of my tuition through UAGC to get my master's degree. We have bachelor's degree programs that we also provide, but we are a proud partner with UAGC. And I really love that I have an employer that continues to invest in me and my career, my growth opportunity through enhancing my education. The people are another one of my favorites. I have been here for almost 3 years, and I have yet to meet anybody that's not awesome and is not willing to help or support different things that you're working on. Everybody here really enhances the BU culture. So we're very much about celebrating who you are, you as a person, individuals, making sure that we are really tuning into how we can best support you through different engagement opportunities, career opportunities, and really celebrating your individuality, which could be as little as, visible tattoos, piercings, magenta hair. Really, we want you to be yourself. And we don't just say that, we celebrate that. So I really love the people, the atmosphere, the collaboration that we have is amazing. Some of the other really cool things, the benefits in terms of, in addition to the tuition reimbursement or tuition assistance, we also offer very competitive 401k investing, employee stock purchase plans, medical, dental, vision, all of those things that are super important. But you also get, you earn paid time off from day one. So the day that you start earning your PTO. I think that I want to say it's 140 hours a year for full-time employees. It ends up being almost 4 weeks. And then you continue to earn that as you go on. You also get 11 paid holidays throughout the year. So I find it hard to even figure out how to use all of my days off, to be honest, because there's so much flexibility around that with the benefits. The empowerment is super important. So for any of you students that are going through the master's program, you know what entrepreneurship is. T-Mobile really does support entrepreneurship within the company. So we are really encouraged to be that leader within this organization. And how do we come up with ideas that continue to enhance technologies or employee experience? I've been able to create 2 benefits for our military community that was approved by our leadership team and are now in our employee handbook and our benefits for the organization. So I can't say that for every company, that you're able to take an idea and get the support of the company where it makes sense to really put it in action and be that entrepreneur within that organization. So those are just some of the reasons that I love working at T-Mobile and some of the opportunities that we have here. We also love to have fun. We have different opportunities at our campuses and then also remotely. So you're going to have that experience no matter where you are working within T-Mobile. Another thing that I really love, so Werner mentioned that I am one of the co-leads for the Southern California DE&I Council chapter. What that means is that we actually have 6 employee resource groups and 4 subgroups, meaning we have a total of 10 groups throughout the organization that we focus on engagement with. Every chapter has a different territory. So like Southern California, we have all of Southern California, we have Central California, Northern California. Every state has their own employee resource groups that you can join. We have different events and engagement opportunities throughout the year, as well as developmental opportunities as a part of the DE&I employee resource group. So like this week, we have a food drive we're doing in LA for veterans. We're building a veterans garden in Southern California through Mission Continues. So we do a lot of engagement with local opportunities. You also have the opportunity to get money donated to the organization of your choice. So I, for Veterans Day, applied for a grant through our foundation for the Mission Continues for this garden project. T-Mobile gave me $2,500 for them to build this garden. We've done other opportunities throughout the year where if there's a cause or an organization that is approved and on the list, approved list within the foundation, you can also match hours. So for every hour an employee works or volunteers their time at that organization, T-Mobile is going to match that with $15 that's donated towards that organization. T-Mobile also gives you $25 twice a year to donate to the organization of your choice, as long as it's a nonprofit, which is pretty cool. So you have that opportunity to do that, as well as invest throughout the year in those organizations that you're really passionate about. Okay, so now let's jump into some career opportunities. I want to break down for you what the different career avenues within T-Mobile are. We have 3 major buckets. So we have our consumer group, which consists of our retail stores and our call centers, the 24 that I mentioned that are across the country. Our retail stores, we have over 800 stores, including all of the Sam's Club and Costco kiosks that we are in. Those are all T-Mobile employees. Those are not franchised out. We employ all of the T-Mobile representatives at those kiosks in both of those locations, in addition to our retail stores that you find in retail centers, different standalone stores across the country. So within our retail stores, you have the opportunity to come in as a mobile expert. Those are the individuals that really help the customers that are coming into our stores with understanding different rate plans, benefits with T-Mobile, switching over to T-Mobile, answering questions about their bills, but also understanding technology. So you don't have to have experience with technology to work for us, but you have to be open to learning it because you will learn a lot about technology as an employee within T-Mobile, no matter the job that you're doing. And customer service is a big focus for us in any of these roles. So our call center is our customer care representative. This is going to be very similar to our retail store roles, except you're going to be behind the scenes working either on the computer in our virtual sales team, or you're going to be answering calls and engaging with customers that way. So the consumer group for our retail stores and our call centers, they're very comparable. It's just a matter of if you're going to work in a retail store and be customer facing or if you're interested in the behind the scenes, working in the call center or virtual retail. We have a 90% internal promotion rate out of our retail stores and call centers. That means that when we're looking at roles that our T-Mobile employees are being promoted out of, most of them are coming from the retail space. So a lot of growth opportunity for individuals that are looking to get their foot in the door in technology, or opportunities with a very fast growing company that will continue to invest in your career and really your skill set development. These are great opportunities for you to get your foot in the door. Another line of business that we have or career focus at T-Mobile is our T-Mobile for Business and Government teams. So you're going to see these across the country. This is a super fast growing line of business where you're working in a direct sales environment on a couple different avenues. So we have our small business teams, we have our large business teams, we have our government teams, and then we also have our K through 12 education teams. We have different outlets that we're looking for specialized training or background in to then go into those sales avenues to work with those clients. So these roles are located throughout the United States. Most of them are going to be remote within that geography, where you will manage a portfolio of customers that you will be responsible for. We also have our inside sales teams, which are more prospecting. So let's say you want to get started in sales, or this is somewhere that you want to end up. Our account executives, we're really looking for 5+ years of experience, but we have our small business account teams and our inside sales teams that are more entry level for sales. And those are located in a few locations in the United States. We have Maitland, Florida, Irving, Texas, we have Colorado. And so we have a few for our inside sales prospecting teams, but then our small business account teams are located across the country. So a lot of opportunity there, and then also room to grow. That's a great avenue to get your foot in the door and then continue to grow into maybe those government account teams or those larger business accounts. And then we have our back office teams. So these are all of the teams that are supporting our consumer groups, our T-Mobile for Business and Government teams. So we have our corporate communications teams, our human resources, we have technology, cybersecurity, digital, finance, marketing, legal, network engineers, you name it, we probably have it. There's a lot of different lines of business and roles here at T-Mobile across the country. So we have several main headquarters locations. We have a lot of sub offices. So like in Southern California here, we have Irvine, but then our main locations are going to be Bellevue, Washington, Overland Park, Kansas, Frisco, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, and Ruston, Virginia for a lot of these back office roles. If you're looking to get into cybersecurity and AI, we have a lot of those roles that are going to be posting over the next 90 days. So between now and February, we're looking at opening up over 120 roles within AI and cybersecurity. So great opportunity to look into those positions as they are opening up over the next 90 days in those locations. And we also have an internship program. So for those students that may be early in career, looking at pivoting careers, maybe doesn't meet the full requirements of direct hire positions, we do have a one of the top 100 internship programs here at T-Mobile, and a lot of our internship roles are already posted. So our goal is to have all of our internship roles posted by the end of this month, but you're already going to see roles within corporate communications, finance, our technology teams. They already have their internship roles posted that you can apply to. Those internship roles are location specific. So when you're looking at those internship positions, those locations are not usually flexible because those teams and leaders have already been committed to bringing on that intern and taking them through the process. But we do have an extensive list of internship opportunities that are already posted for interested applicants to look into. Okay, so we went over all of the things, why you should love T-Mobile, some of the differences between the different roles that you're going to see posted on the career site. And now it's time to understand how to have a leg up as an applicant in the process and prepare for the interview. So even though maybe you don't have telecommunications or technology experience, it doesn't mean that you'd be disqualified for the role. We will teach you the technology piece for most of the positions if you do not already have that. Obviously, if we're looking for a senior engineer, you have to have some of that technical background or certifications. Some of the roles do have specific certifications or database or program experience that we require. That'll all be listed in the job requirements. So you will see required and desired or recommended, preferred. There's a difference there. So if it's a requirement, they are really looking for candidates that have that direct experience. If it's preferred, that means it's a nice to have, but you don't have to have it. And that's where maybe if you are currently enrolled in any classes or, at a degree program that would be applicable for that job, that's where you can list that and say, hey, I might not have this direct experience, but I am getting my degree or my certification in this that I'll have within this time frame. And our employers here really appreciate that. So for the nice to have, if it's something that's in progress for you, just make sure you note that because they'll appreciate that you're working your way there. So you want to make sure that you do your research. So maybe you don't have that technical experience or that experience in telecommunications. Research T-Mobile even further. Who are we as a company? What have we been up to? It's really important to understand, how are we getting some of the access to our cutting edge technology that, we're partnering with SpaceX on the satellite systems to where we can offer that satellite calling on our cell phones. What other companies or technologies are we advancing and are focusing on that may offer or open up future job opportunities within the company? It's really important that no matter the company you're looking at joining or the career you're going into, that you do that market research to really understand what the main focuses of that company are, what direction they're going in, so that you can kind of get an idea of career sustainability and what roles may be opening up in the future. Also understanding the details of the job. A lot of times job titles can mean a lot of different things. So when you are searching for that job, you could even put in skill sets in the search function or geography, and that will really narrow the search for you to really be able to tune into exact things that you're looking for. But let's say you're looking for a job that has something to do with Java or SQL. If you put that in the search function or the search bar, it'll bring up all of the roles that require that. So that'll make it a little bit easier to navigate the different job opportunities that you're looking for as well. Make sure you also do research on that department. So let's say you're going into program management or project management. Here at T-Mobile, we don't have as many project manager jobs. We have more program manager jobs. We have product development roles. So that understanding, am I applying for a role in program management on, a technology team or human resources? One job title can be very, very different with the expectations of that role, depending on the team or department that it's reporting into. Also, just because let's say you apply for a role on finance, it doesn't mean you're going to be an accountant. So make sure that you understand the department that you're rolling up to, that job is a part of, who's on that team, what does the team consist of, so that you could also look at, how does this correlate maybe to your 5 or 10-year career goal of where you want to end up, and is that the best team for you to be starting with? Make sure you also prepare your questions ahead of time. So think about the most important qualities that you want to understand from that role. Also what the expectations are. So maybe what you're held accountable to. I think so often it's like we read the job description, we understand it, cool, I'm super qualified, but then it's also important to understand what is my performance metrics? What are my performance metrics going to be? And what is that accountability standard that I'm going to be evaluated against at the end of the year, to make sure that you have all of the information at hand when you are applying for that job of what that expectation is going to be. Also, what are the opportunities for development? So where does this role go? Is this going to be a career dead end for me? Is this actually taking a step backwards from where I want to go? So really understanding and preparing those questions to see, where can I go and grow with my career should I start with this position? And then make sure your LinkedIn profile is updated. If you're a student, make sure you add that and put that it's in progress. You don't have to be graduated or have that diploma to have it listed in progress. So make sure that your LinkedIn is updated. Some great tips on that is making sure that those keywords from a job description are integrated into your LinkedIn profile. So make sure you have results. Your LinkedIn profile is kind of the extended story of your resume. So it shouldn't be completely different than your resume, but it does give you the opportunity to put in some more direct results or accomplishments than maybe what you want to fit into a resume. Given that resumes are usually reviewed in 30 seconds or less by recruiters, they're really looking for some high level, very detailed, very summarized, non-detailed information. That's where your LinkedIn profile can go into more in-depth information that you may want that recruiter or hiring manager to look into for you. Okay, and here's my LinkedIn. So if anybody has questions or wants to connect on LinkedIn following this presentation, I'd be more than glad to connect with anybody and answer any questions that maybe you don't get answered today as well, and be additional resource in addition to the career services team at UAGC. So make sure that you take down my LinkedIn. And then Warner, I think we can go ahead and open it up for questions.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Lacey, for that amazing presentation. I'm sure that everybody now has a large handle as to what's available at T-Mobile, and that's the whole purpose, obviously, today. So got a few people in the chat that actually are working at T-Mobile, some for 14 years and others. And so one of the questions I wanted to ask you, which is probably a good one to start off with, being that that is the case, and maybe it is applicable to many of these students and graduates, is can someone, well, excuse me, the question would be, what do you believe as a fellow UAGC alum are important to highlight on resumes, LinkedIn profiles, or on an interview? I know you just mentioned some of those things, but kind of like getting the backroom skinny as to what, as a UAGC alum, what can you tell our students and graduates so that they walk away from this going, that's a really great point.
Yeah, so I think that what's important is not forgetting some of the key things that you learn in your classes that could be applicable to jobs that they're looking for specific experience in. So, for example, I have to do data analytics for my job sometimes. So I'm pulling data, I'm interpreting data, I'm putting it in a way that I can present it to different hiring managers. Now, that's not what my degree is in. But I am absolutely going to display that as a skill set or experience that I have if that's a job that I'm applying to in the future, right? Because I have experience doing it. That's just not what my degree is listed in. So I think that what's important is narrowing it down to the jobs that you're searching for. So if you take the job description for these roles that you're applying to and you pull out some of those skill sets or experience that they're looking for, you can absolutely reference things that you have done in your degree journey specific to those classes, not just like, hey, I have this degree. Because, having your MBA doesn't mean that you don't have experience in financial insights or, that data analytics piece or entrepreneurship. So I think that you can pull from your degree programs and put that experience in that matches the job description or requirements for the job that you're searching for as well.
Understood. Great tips. So I have Theodore here. He says he's going to graduate with his degree in IT in April of 25th of next year. So when can he start applying for employment is what he's asking.
Yeah, so I think it really depends on a couple things. You don't have to necessarily wait for your degree to be finished in order to apply to some of these roles. It also will depend on the outside work experience you have in addition to your degree. So if you just have your degree program, you're a new, you're a graduating student maybe newer to your career, you might want to look at an internship or some of the consumer roles that I spoke about to get your foot in the door in a technology-driven company. If you have work experience plus your degree, I don't think that you have to necessarily wait to have your degree to apply to a role that you could be suited for. A lot of our positions are not degree dependent. So you don't have to have a degree in order to apply to the role, but it helps with that additional experience. So I think without knowing the specifics for you, I think maybe taking a look at what additional experience you have from either another employment opportunity, internship, in addition to your education journey, and then kind of evaluating, well, what kind of job do I want? Does it need to be entry level? Am I mid-level? Am I senior level career? Because like for me, I waited 16 years to get my MBA. So I took a break for 16 years. So even though I'm a recent graduate, I still have a lot of career experience. So
Sure.
I wouldn't, say that I would have waited for my degree to complete to apply for a job had I been looking for a job. Because I have that other career experience too. So I think it depends on what kind of mix of career experience you have in addition to your degree, and then taking it from there.
I have Melanie Rodriguez. She's like, hey, Lacey, UAGC alum here and currently an employee with T-Mobile. I believe she said she was 14 plus years. I just recently graduated with my BA in Business Administration last year, and I seek a new career opportunity. Any advice on how to transition into a lateral role within the organization outside of retail? Did we lose you, Lacey? Everybody, if you can please hang in there. It looks like we have an internet connection issue. So just technical difficulties. It'll be just a moment. As soon as we can lock in. Lacey, if you can hear us, your internet has locked. Thank you. So she's probably going to log in. I will let all of you know while we're waiting on Lacey. I actually did work for AT&T for over 13 years as an area manager and manager. Many of the things Lacey mentioned here today were absolutely correct. That applies to other organizations as well. But I was going to ask Lacey about other degrees and having like a secondary major. So I'll bring that up to her when she pops back in. But I know when I used to work, we used to look at people that were, if they had their degree and they had maybe say a project management as a secondary degree or things of that nature, because there's always projects that pop up when telecommunications companies are upgrading their services or their equipment or things. And then you could be working in consumer and then all of a sudden get hired to work on this project in another location, things of that nature. So there's always so many avenues in telecom and so many ways to go into other fields. So just be aware of all that. And then as for those employees that are currently working at T-Mobile, obviously constantly talking to fellow employees, management, things of that nature, and then looking at opportunities and always checking out other departments. So we'll see if Lacey pops back in. Here she is, looks like. There you are. Hi, Lacey.
Hi, I think my computer just shut off.
Oh, it's all good. We were just talking with him. I was talking about, the 13 years plus that I worked at AT&T and some of the other things. So I was going to talk about as an area manager and manager. So kind of mentioning a lot of the things that you did already, they're very applicable to the telecom industry. So I'm glad you're
Awesome.
back. We're happy to have you back.
Me too. My
So
computer's reloading, so I'll rejoin from my
understood.
computer in just a minute.
Understood. Well, I was just talking about like when I worked as an area manager in consumer and when I was running call centers and all that, that we would often look for, say, some of our service reps or what have you that are graduating with a degree in project management, or maybe our managers that have degrees in project management. Oh, we got two of you now. There we go.
There we go.
So yeah, we were talking about that, like having like a secondary major, because you never know when projects pop up, or all of a sudden at AT&T we were revamping the programs for, consumer and things like that. So all kinds of stuff that you can do. So what we'll do is we'll press on with the questions, but I have Melanie. I don't know if you kind of caught some of that, but she currently works at T-Mobile, and she's looking for a new career opportunity. And she was asking if there's any advice on how to transition into a lateral role with the organization outside of retail.
Yeah, so I think from an internal perspective, we have some opportunities like career ride along. We also have, I think, like teams like mine, where I can really understand what your experience and background is in addition to your education, introduce you to some of the different hiring managers or teams that we support here. So we actually just did a career event with our call centers and in Missouri with our finance team, because we're hiring, I think we have over 120 roles open within our finance team. And so we're really looking to hire from our retail stores and call centers for anyone that's looking into, like, we have a lot of data analytics jobs. And so we're really looking to, take a lot of our internal talent, especially those that are taking advantage of our tuition assistance program and getting their degrees in these areas, where we can then put them into roles that are more junior in career in finance or cybersecurity. And so, I think connect with me. I'd love to spend the time with you, because I just did this with another UAGC alumni, and he has an interview for our finance team, and he's working
That's awesome.
in our call center. So
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
connect with me. I'd love to help you with that, because we have our workday profiles. So for anyone that's here at T-Mobile, make sure your workday is updated, because
Updated.
with those skill sets and those experience, hiring
Sure.
managers are going to pull from that before anything else. So that's your internal resume.
Actually, since you brought it up, and I'm sure this is a question that many are thinking, is what is the hiring process at T-Mobile, if we can ask, please?
Yeah, for sure. So it depends on the job, but for roles like our call centers and our retail stores, you're going to apply and you're going to go through an assessment. Some of our T-Mobile for Business and Government teams require an assessment as well. That assessment is tricky because sometimes, depending on how you answer, it can disqualify you from, being moved in the process. If you don't pass the assessment, you actually have to wait 6 months before you reapply for that job directly. But once you make it through that, so let's say you apply, you make it through the assessment, then a recruiter will reach out to you to do a screening. So you go through the screening process, and then if they feel like you're a good fit, meet, between 70 and 80% of the qualifications, they'll move you on to the second interview. If it's retail call center, you're going to interview with the store manager in most cases, or our coach for our call centers. Before then, you're moved through in the process. Sometimes that's it for those roles. Sometimes you'll meet with a district manager, but that's really only if you're in a management role for either of those positions. So a retail store manager, I think I saw in the chat someone was a retail store manager here for T-Mobile, or if you're looking at a coach position, you're going to interview with a higher level for that. For our T-Mobile for Business or Government teams, you're screening with the recruiter, you're meeting with the account executive team. Sometimes you'll do a panel interview, and before you move forward with a hiring offer. For back office roles, you're doing a recruiter screening, no assessment required for that. And then you're going to probably interview with the hiring manager. We do an equitable, diverse interview panel for most of our back office roles, because we want to make sure that we're representative of a diverse panel to engage with every candidate on.
Sure.
And then you're usually doing a final interview with 2 levels up, so your hiring manager's manager. And so most of our roles, back office roles, you're looking at a 30 to 45 day application to hire time frame. For our retail stores and our T-Mobile for Business or Government, I would say less than 30 days, because usually those are like, we need to fill them yesterday if they're posting. So
Somebody was just asking that, so
yeah,
I'm
there's
glad you
more of an
answered that.
urgency. Yep, there's more of an urgency around like how long it takes to get hired. for our consumer roles and our T-Mobile for Business or government teams.
I got Kristen who's asking, can you confirm if upon resume submittal, if AI is being used to filter resumes on how to circumvent them and then contact recruiters for T-Mobile directly?
Yeah, I can tell you at T-Mobile, we're not doing that. So we are not using AI to eliminate resumes. We are actually physically looking at every single application and resume that's submitted, which is why sometimes there is that delay because the recruiters are actually looking at every application themselves. Where AI is involved is maybe like candidate outreach to confirm that we received your application or next steps in the process, or if you're being disqualified from a role. Usually those are pre-designated communications that are sent out, but a recruiter's reviewing every single application. In other cases, to circumvent that, what I would tell you is if you're using keywords from the job description and key results and matching those, you're not going to be eliminated from that first round of AI screening. It's when you use a generic resume or application to a job that you do not include a certain percentage of the requirements that they're looking for, that the system's going to automatically reject you because you're not catering that resume and application to that role specifically.
That's excellent to know. So I have Susan here who says she's in education and she's got experience in instructional design as an instructional designer. Is T-Mobile hiring for something like that?
You know, I'm not sure about the instructional designer. We do have a learning and development team that develops a lot of our internal programs, engagement, curriculum, that kind of thing. They manage our partnership with Career Circle for internal like career growth or skill set enhancement programs. We do have roles that we're specifically looking for folks from education in our account executive K through 12 education departments, because we really want folks that understand the education system and understand that whole background. So I think there's a couple of different opportunities, maybe our learning and development team that reports under human resources, or that K through 12 education account executive roles within our T-Mobile for Business would probably be a great place to look.
Great advice. So I have Daryl here who's saying he's been working at T-Mobile for 5 years in, I guess, Maine, and got his marketing degree through the tuition grant program. After a year and a half of applying at T-Mobile and applying to different roles, he's still not getting any looks. Any advice for him?
Yeah, so reach out to me directly because I support those marketing teams, and I can, at the very minimum, have a recruiter take a look at your resume, your experience, what they're looking for, and give me feedback. Part of the issue may be location. Those marketing roles are very location specific. So you have to be in either Bellevue, Washington or Overland Park, Kansas.
Understood.
Some of our marketing team is in Reston, Virginia, but most of them are going to be at those locations. So if you're not relocatable for marketing, that might be a disqualifier. But if you want to reach out to me, I can at least get some feedback from the recruiter on why you may not have been chosen for roles in the past.
That's great, Lacey. Appreciate that. This a crazy one, but I've never heard this question, but it's a good one. Do you have internships for high school 16-year plus or age or older?
Great question. You have to be 18 or older to work at T-Mobile, even in the internship program. So my apologies there, but it really is because of confidential and restricted data and information for us. So we can't hire even in an internship program. We can't bring on anyone that's not 18 or over.
Understood. And I've got Elidra asking, I'm currently working as a contractor over 3 years for T-Mobile supporting finance management and obtained her MBA from UAGC last year. And any recommendations on how to engage for a full-time conversation?
Yes. So congratulations, first of all, on your MBA. That's awesome. Reach out to me. You can either reach out to me on LinkedIn or well, if you're a contractor, you won't be able to find me internally maybe, but you can even send me a message on LinkedIn. I'd love to go back and kind of see what teams you're working with, ask those questions, where you're located, what kind of job you're looking for, because I think it depends on all of that. A lot of our finance roles were moved to Overland Park, Kansas. So that's
Okay.
where you're going to need to be located for a lot of those positions. Some of them are in Bellevue, Washington, but that's definitely something we can dive in deeper on that specific question.
Sounds good. And I got Mark asking, has there been any transition towards remote positions or hybrid positions that would not require a move for those back office roles?
Yeah, so we do have some that are remote. Hybrid, yes, especially at some of our smaller locations. So outside of our main headquarters. So like for me, I'm in Irvine, or attached to the Irvine office. We have smaller offices, like we have them in Oregon, we have Colorado, we have an office in New Mexico, like you name it. We probably have an office location in most states. Not Arizona anymore, unfortunately, but most states have smaller offices that we can flex that location for if the hiring manager and hiring team is willing to do that. And then it's a hybrid schedule of 3 days a week in the office.
Well, I can tell you that Irvine office, if you all don't know, this area of Southern California is stunning, and it's
It
close
is.
to the ocean. It is just amazing. It's all brand, just stunning. Irvine is just amazing.
It's
Lacey,
true.
it's been so amazing. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to sum up here for our students and graduates. If you want to connect with T-Mobile and other organizations like them, and they're actively hiring, please log into Handshake through your student portal. We recommend checking Handshake, UAGC Connect, and your email regularly for career services events. A reminder, you will receive a follow-up email with a link to this recording and information about careers at T-Mobile. If you have any questions for Career Services team on your resume, cover letter, or job search, please email career services, that's all one word, at uagc.edu, or log into Handshake through your student portal to explore more resources. Please take 1 minute to hang it on at the close of this information session, and you'll be directed to complete a quick confidential survey. Your responses will guide us in planning future employer information sessions, career fairs, and events. If you're unable to complete it now, the survey will also be emailed to you with a copy of the recording. Many thanks again to Lacey at T-Mobile for joining us today, and many thanks to you, our students and graduates, for attending UAGC. Thank you for attending this event today, and we look forward to seeing you at more Career Services hosted events. Everyone have a great day. Thank you, Lacey. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.